Stuck in our own homes. Yeah, that's true. But alone, however, we absolutely are not. Hello out there to all of our friends and family around the globe, and welcome. This is the 24-hour live fundraiser to kick off United in Movement. I'm your host, Rory McKernan, for at least the next 4 hours or so, and we are live from my living room, a familiar scene for most of you, I'm sure. And over the next 4 hours, in fact, over the next 24 hours, we're going to check in with a slew of celebrity athletes, coaches, industry leaders, people like you and me from all corners of the globe, everyone being affected by this COVID-19 crisis. Tommy Marquez, Sean Woodland from Talking Elite Fitness, they'll be along later, as will Chase Ingram, Bill Grundler, many more of your favorite faces and personalities over the next 24 hours. But let's dive in, my friends. What is United in Movement? What are we trying to accomplish? Well, we are a global movement, all people like you and me, with a mission to raise awareness, raise spirits, and relief for those most affected by COVID-19. As you guys know, this pandemic has touched us all heavily. And regardless of where you live, what you believe, the color of your skin, and our community responds to crisis with action, with movement. So right now, this movement begins with the broadcast, and we're aiming to shed a bright light during this dark time and show that we can find strength in community with our friends. I already see many of you guys in the comments as we speak, and that we're a family, one world, all united by movement. Now, of course, we want you guys to enjoy the show, but we also ask that you please spread the word that to anyone who will listen. So encourage your friends to sign up for the 7-day at-home fitness challenge that will start tomorrow. That's the easiest way to give. You can find that at unitedinmovement.org. It's free to register, but ultimately, like I said, we're here to raise money. So it's for a great cause. Please give what you can, if you can. And if you can't, no worries. Just join us in moving. Remember that you are not alone. All of these proceeds, just so you know, they'll be generated and donated directly to the CrossFit Foundation, Action Against Hunger, and Red Cross Global. And as you can see, we're all in it together. These are my dogs running through the living room, so please forgive me. Again, thank you all for being here. We're going to start this round the world tour right now by going over to the island of Ireland, where we're going to check in with a young lady who is an affiliate owner, a sanctional director of the Filthy 50. Her name is Darina Dunne. And Darina, let's see if we can kick it off and
Hi,
get you on the
Rory.
line. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad.
How are we
Hello
doing
from
over there?
Ireland. Well,
It's
it's
great
one
to
in the
see you.
morning.
Great to see you.
Everything is
1 in
really
the
good.
morning.
It's 1 in the morning. Yeah, it's exciting to be up to host this event, to kick it off, to bring some light into a dark time.
Yeah, well, thank you for your patience in this little delay that we have going on as well. But I want to hear from you as a community leader. You've got a finger on the pulse over there. How are the affiliates in Ireland responding to this?
Well, there's no denying it's a very difficult time. It's something we've never experienced before, but we're CrossFitters, and we like nothing better than a challenge and overcoming adversity. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're rolling up our sleeves and we're supporting each other. It's remarkable to see how much we've galvanized. I always knew there was something special about the CrossFit community. We were more united, we were stronger than, say, members of other forms of fitness communities, but it's become even more apparent and even more stark at this time. We see coaches going above and beyond to make sure that their members are fit and healthy and moving, and also having a social connection when they're at home alone, for want of a better word. But in conjunction to that, you see a role reversal. You see members supporting the coaches. What has become apparent from talking to a lot of the coaches around the country, that members are committing to pay their membership because they want their boxes to be there afterwards. They recognize the important role it plays in their life, in the community, in their well-being, and as such, they're going to support the box too, because it makes sense. So we're seeing coaches loan equipment, we're seeing Zoom classes, we're seeing calls. Like last night, there was a local gym who had a table quiz with all their members. They all had a chat, a drink together. And so it's not just around fitness. They're really galvanizing.
I love that. And the members and the gyms is an obvious connection. But what really took me by surprise as we started to put together the United in Movement cause was different brands coming together. And then I'd love to hear you speak to the fact that as a sanctional organizer, we have all the sanctionals behind this, where there, it's a group of people where you could arguably say, oh, well, they're kind of have competing interests sometimes, but here everyone has like come together, no questions asked behind this cause.
Um, it's very unique. We As sanctional directors, we all compete, for want of a better word, with our events, and it's a friendly rivalry. But I've never seen anything like this before. When Matt and the team put out the call with their big dream of pulling this off, we all got on the call to sanctional directors, and not once did I hear anyone mention their individual event. It wasn't about that. It was about united in movement. It was about the community. So although we're representing sanctionals, we're not hearing that, guys. We're here as people who love CrossFit or want to support our community. So it's about united in movement. It's not about the individual events.
As a community leader, I'm sure that there's affiliates who are reaching out directly to you for advice, for encouragement. I would love to hear, for our audience who's watching, what are you telling them when they ask you for advice?
Um, Sometimes it's good just to listen. We all have our different experiences. There's different types of boxes. People are at different stages in their business life cycle. So mostly we're listening, and then when there is advice to be give, we share. What we're trying to say and demonstrate is there's light at the end of this tunnel. I know it's going to be a hard few months, but that's something we can overcome together. I have some colleagues and friends in the APAC region, Asia Pacific, and I was just talking to some members of the Singapore team, and they're starting to regain their life again. They're starting to go out. So if we're patient, if we work together, if we manage these 12 weeks correctly, we will come out the other side stronger and better for it, because there's something magic in overcoming something. It's like an extreme workout. We push together, we galvanize, and we move forward. So we can't necessarily control what's happening out there, but we can control how we react to it. And that's what we're doing incredibly well as a CrossFit community. We're saying, okay, COVID, you're trying to kick us in the ass, but we're going to manage it, we're going to fight back, and we're going to be stronger for it. So I think in terms of the Irish CrossFit community, in terms of talking to boxes, there has to be a recognition that's a very difficult time. But through most adversity, I think we all recognize that we grow, we develop, and we learn something. And I think we're learning a lot about ourselves through this crisis, and a lot of it is positive.
I love it. And also that you managed to put that into a perfect Irish spin. It's trying to kick us in the arse. I love that. I'm going to take a moment to address just a couple of the comments here. That's you in the comment section. People are asking, when does the actual workout get announced? One thing that you guys should know, and I'm about to drop this on you, Darina, is that on the 19th minute of every hour, we're going to do 19 reps of something. So hopefully you're going to join me for air squats here in just a few minutes. But for those of you who are asking about the actual United in Movement competition, the first workout will actually be 22 hours from now at 6 p.m. Central. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, or pardon me, 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. That'll be done live, and Matt Fraser, Tia Toomey will be there for that. So this broadcast is to get your wet your whistle, get you guys ready, get you amped up to move. And I'm going to switch modes now, Darina. I'm going to have you put on a different hat, because you've been in the space for a while, and as a coach, also as an affiliate owner. So what are some of the bright spots? What are some of the innovations you've seen from people having to be at home, having to find ways to stay fit while they're not going to the gym?
There's incredible ingenuity. What I've noticed has worked very well is obviously the Zoom classes. And I was a little skeptical about that, because I've used them in my day-to-day work, and they don't seem very real. But I think it works particularly well in a CrossFit class, in a fitness environment, because we have stronger relationships and we're actually doing something together. So the Zoom classes have worked very well. I think what we're also seeing is a lot of coaches reminding themselves that CrossFitStarted.com. It started online. We can continue online for 12 weeks, whatever this takes, and get back into our boxes stronger and fitter. Just because we're not in there doesn't mean that we don't maintain our fitness and we don't develop and grow. So we still see people working on programs. We still see people focusing on things that they wouldn't focus on, like body weight movements, gymnastics, because they're forced to now because of the limited equipment. So there's lots of opportunities to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably like you said, add to your bag of tricks for keeping yourself fit anyways, because we should be able to have those opportunities without having fancy equipment anyway. So probably learning some things there. I'd love to talk about the sanctional season. Of course, your event was the first one to go. So you guys did actually get to run the sanctional, but heartbreakingly, there are many events that are either postponing or canceling. Your general thoughts on that, even if it's just to kind of express how you're feeling about it.
It's heartbreaking. I know the energy and passion that all of the sanctional directors put into their event. This is a labor of love for us all. I was actually just about to board a flight to Boston to go to Atlas. The Irish team were working there. Alexi is a great guy. To see him have to tell the athletes that the event was called off, it was heart-wrenching. You could see the man was broken because it meant so much to him. And I know he and the Canadian community will come back stronger for it. And to see the comments and the community galvanize around him, give him a virtual hug was just wonderful. And then to see all the domino effect of the events postponing or cancelling, I really, really do hope that we get to see more events this year, because it's a celebration of what we do. It's a celebration of what we love. And there's something magic about sanctionals. I know I talk about going to them a lot, and it's not just the actual competition. It's getting to experience another culture. Like when I was at the French Throwdown last year, which was a brilliant event. Well done to Daniel and all his team. And we will be there in 2021. We got to go to the Versailles, the castle, where the Treaty of Versailles was signed, and see parts of France that I would never have seen, meet locals that I would have never met. So there's something magic in sanctionals, and I really, really do hope that we get to see some of them at the end of this season.
Obviously anyone who's tuned in, I'm imagining, knows a piece of that magic anyhow. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about what we're doing here, the bringing people together to move together in order to do good, essentially. So you were brought into this crazy idea to get this thing together in zero amount of time. Let's examine the other side of the feelings, the happiness that you have to be a part of something like this that's trying to focus all of our energy at one time.
Yeah, it's a bit insane, actually. When I got a phone call from Matt and Dylan to say, do you want to do the Live Aid of Fitness? I thought they were joking. It just seemed like such a big ask, but to see everyone come together, it's incredible. To be on a call where you have 500 brands, a lot of them competing with one another, and no mention of their own individual gain, a mention of how we contribute and give back to the community that has given so much to us. Again, when you see all the sanctional directors pulling together and going, okay, what do we need to do to make this better? And again, no mention of individualism. It was just awesome. And there's a real positivity. You can feel the dynamism, you can feel the energy, you can feel the momentum. Like we're starting here today at 8 o'clock where you are, 1 o'clock in the morning where I am. But I think every hour we'll see the donations go up. We'll see the energy that's created, and we'll see the magic that is the CrossFit community globally. And it's so exciting. And, Matt said, I'm going to ring Tia, I'm going to ring Matt Fraser, and he lists a plethora of athletes, maybe 30 or 40. And to be honest with you, I was expecting him to maybe find it difficult to get people to get involved. But literally, every single person he spoke to, I spoke to, the other sanctional directors spoke to, Brand spoke to, come back with how can we help? Including yourself, Rory, including Morning Chalk Up, including Armin. It's just, I don't think there's one person who actually said no. And what's really unique as well, CrossFit HQ are supporting it and we're all involved. This really is the whole community getting behind what we are, a full community. It's great. It really is.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. It just feels right. And not to mention that Matt O'Keefe is a very difficult man to say no to anyways, in any situation. And so we're going to actually bring him in because it's almost time to do our air squat. So I'm going to make Matt O'Keefe come in here and suffer with us because here he is. Mr. O'Keefe, I don't know if you knew this, but the 19th minute of every hour, we're going to do air squats. That's why perfect timing on your part. You got 4 minutes to speak, and then I'm going to make you move. But welcome and thank you for being one of the driving forces behind this. I would love to hear just some quick thoughts on why. How did this come about and why?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you to both of you for being such a big part of this and helping bring this whole thing together. It's been a wild 10 days. I think really the start of this was just, we're here, obviously the coronavirus thing started to, build some steam around our event, the West Coast Classic. So we were really in the heat of it and made a decision to not go live with that event, obviously. And we immediately shifted to see what could we do to, stay active, even, with some of our events. And we thought, well, geez, there's a lot of problems with, affiliates and people in small business. Why don't we just, take one of these online things that we're doing and, maybe our Granite Games qualifier, something like that, and shift all the money and donate it to, people in need. And that quickly turned in a matter of 2 or 3 days after talking to people like Darina and the other sanction owners and, some of the athletes. And this was, something that should be and could be a lot bigger than that. It was an opportunity for us as an industry, as a space, as a fitness community, really to help the world with, something they could probably use most right now, teach them how to move. We find a way, no matter what, with our routine to get something in every day. And I think that, the basis for it was just that. It's, how do we bring a little light to some darkness right now?
Absolutely. And the world is watching right now. If you could kind of give them your message, what do you want them to hear? What would you love for them to do? How would you love for them to be involved?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways. Obviously, I want you to sign up. I mean, I think you will, if you're either a part of this community, there's a strong base of CrossFit involved in this. And so if you CrossFit, get in. It's going to be stuff that you're familiar with. But if you don't, try it out. It's something that I think you'll enjoy. And I truly believe that, one of the pieces that'll come of this is you'll probably want to walk through a gym door like I did, 8 years ago. And that day changed my life. So that's really the biggest piece for me. And, if you can,
time to squat. Time to squat. It was beautiful. I don't know if it's for time.
Am I supposed to? Darina, why'd you move so slow?
Wait, was O'Keefe back first? Dang, homie.
Full blackout.
I'd like to point out.
I didn't know you could be out of breath doing 19 air squats.
There was no judge, so.
Where was I, Ro? What I was saying is that we sign up, register, be a part of it, participate, and talk about it, spread the word, help others understand this is a nice opportunity for them to get a little activity in their home. I said a number of times that, the one thing that kind of links the world together is movement. No matter your language, religion, politics, or location, everybody can do a burpee, everybody can do an air squat. So if you're going to be a part of this, get somebody else to do it as well with us. And obviously, donate if you can. We're looking to raise a bunch of money to support businesses, super needy organizations right now, like the Red Cross, and Action Against Hunger, CrossFit Foundation. So we would love any and all support. And if all you can do is participate, that's enough. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, fantastically put. I wanted to add, a lot of people in the comments, hey, let's get some action in. Hopefully there's just a little delay and they've seen our air squats now, so the people are getting what they want. But I also want to point out, in just a few moments, you guys are going to actually see a pre-taped workout with Rich Froning. So you didn't get to see sanctionals, but you do get to see one of the best athletes in the world completing one with Tasia Percevecz. Dan Bailey, he's going to serenade us. Dan Bailey's coming on to sing to us. So we've got basically a whole lineup of things you guys are expecting, are not expecting. This next 24 hours will be really, really fun. Not to mention our next guests who will be coming up shortly. Some of the favorite doctors in the community who can actually speak a little more educated on some actual advice on maybe how you could be changing your habits and whatnot. But Matt, anything that stands out as someone who was more intimately involved with all of the aspects of this, of what's coming together, what really gives you the most, like, what makes your heart the happiest when you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's just how so many different people from different places, from different, sides of this ecosystem have just come together, so cohesively. It literally was just one of these things where in a 10-day period, we literally launched a brand, brought it to life, had a ton of people post about it. And, here we are today, and we've already raised tons of money. And man, the pride is like spilling over out of me on this thing. And it's people like the two of you. Everybody literally has just come in and said, yes, and what can I do? I mean, we've had people that haven't slept for 2 days to put this thing on. Putting on a 24-hour broadcast is no joke. That is my fault. I apologize, but it's honestly, it's so cool to see so many different people. Listen, we've got competing athletes, competing brands working together. We've got competing events, I guess, technically. We all try to work together to some extent, but you know what? There is a competitive level to that, and everybody has literally just thrown that aside, gathered as a community, and said, let's do some good together. And man, it's just so special to watch. And it's, I'm really proud to be a part of it. And I'm really proud to be a part of this group that's putting this on. It's been a wonderful effort, and I'm excited for the next 24 hours. And then 7 days. I get to race you and workouts all week, bro.
Yeah, buddy. You know what? Let's talk about that. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, it's just, I want to echo everything Matt said, but I've been lucky enough to be part of the fund distribution group, and to get to ring 3 charities, notable charities, and say that we're going to be donating large sums of money to them that will get and help people on the ground is just such an incredible feeling. The charities that we're going to be working with, obviously the CrossFit Foundation, that has a huge link and affinity to us all. They're going to make sure the money gets to the people that need it on the ground. The Red Cross, and the reason the Red Cross was chosen was we really wanted to make sure that we supported the hero of the hours, the nurses, the doctors, the frontline workers, and a lot of them are CrossFitters. So it was very important for us to work with the Red Cross, who can spread the money geographically to the people on the ground and the people doing the best work. And thirdly, Action Against Hunger. When this pandemic passes, we will be facing very hard times. A lot of people will be struggling. The economies may be in a downturn. And as such, we wanted to make sure that some of the funds went to look after people that really needed post immediate crisis. So echoing everything that Matt said, really great that we are pulling together, and it's not about our own personal interests. But on an aside note, getting to speak to the charities and getting to hear what they're going to do with the funds we raise is incredibly positive.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And thank you for mentioning that. I want to give a couple of shout outs to those in the comments section. Luis Felipe Frenet, 19 done. He did the math, and this is scary. 3,629 reps to go. So O'Keefe, I hope you're doing all of those. Kitty Yang says the dinner in my stomach did not appreciate those 19, but Richard Taylor said he got those 19 done while cleaning his teeth. So no big deal there. Matt, you again, a great organizer and an intermediary for a lot of these things, but I just maybe speak real quick to folks like Darina, who you have I mean, look, they're byproducts of this community, hard workers with tons of grit and positivity. But just, I don't know, what is, I mean, give you the feeling one more time of being able to kind of call on these people and hear, hey man, I got your back.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's not hard, honestly. I mean, we've been around long enough, and you know, we stick pretty tight together. And I don't think that's something that's, you know, always so visible to the outside. You know, the continuity and unity, even in the athlete community, and it's the same on the business side. You know, Darina and I are friends. We talk often. We've attended events together, and you know, and that sanctioned community, event community is super tight. You know, we all want each other to succeed. The long-term success of what we're all doing, I think, is predicated on what each, you know, event is, each event's actual success as well. So we all try to help each other out. You know, it's just really across the board phenomenal people that are genuine, that want to help each other succeed. And, you know, even those seemingly competitive with each other to some extent, that those barriers, those walls are so low. You know, it's barely there. And everybody's like that, whether it's, you know, Ro, you yourself, and the media side of things with the media team. I mean, you know, you all technically compete for time and space. None of that's going on. Everybody is jumping in, doing their part, and it's pretty uplifting. I want the outside to see that, and I think this is a really nice platform for that. People will get to see a lot of what we get to see, a lot more, you know, maybe behind the curtain with what goes on with our space.
So there's just a few minutes before I have to say goodbye to both of you. So what I would love as a parting thought would be, what makes this a success in your mind? Matt, I'll start with you.
Right. You know, that's pretty simple for me. If we can, you know, move people to, you know, if we can get people to move, you know, we can inspire some people, no matter where they are in the world, to have a little bit of a better day and learn how to get through this time where we're all kind of unified in one common, you know, strange and unfortunate cause, stuck inside. I think we win. You know, and if in the meantime we can raise some money and do some good for some people that are struggling right now, it's a huge success. And I'll tell you, it's already been a success. You know, it's, you know, not only with what's already been raised and committed, but just, you know, the total continuity of everybody that's gotten involved in this and spread the word. And the movement is so cool. So I would say we've already succeeded in a great way.
Agreed. Darina, I love your thoughts as well.
Yeah, we've done a lot, but we can do a lot more. So I'm going to put on my sales hat and say to everyone at home, please get involved. Be that moving, be that donating. Let's let the world hear us scream. You know, we're doing something really positive here. We're going to do it together. I hope by the end of this 7 days, we can shout to the world we've raised a huge amount of money and we've done it together. So please donate. We really want to do something good, and we need your help to do it. So whatever that means to you, whether that is getting involved by doing a workout, whether that means supporting us by donating money, whatever you can do, because together we'll make this an even bigger success.
Absolutely.
Beautifully said. Couldn't put it more perfectly myself. And a huge thank you to you both for being here and for being the driving forces behind this movement that surely in 24 hours from now, we're going to look back and say, holy smokes, we just made a massive difference together. So I look forward to talking to you both over the next 24 hours and certainly recapping after this broadcast is done.
Thanks, Ro. Thanks for all your time and effort.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Darina.
All right, our first guests coming really squarely from the fitness side of the world of fitness. The next guests that we're going to bring in have actually dedicated their lives to closing the gap between the fitness world and the medical world. She is a former CrossFit Games athlete and a medical resident, and he is a doctor. Together, they are a married couple, and they run the Pursuing Health website. Many of you, I'm sure, know who exactly I'm talking about. Doctors Dani Urcuyo and Dr. Julie Foucher-Urcuyo. My friends, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
We're excited to be here, and we're just catching our breath from those air squats.
Yeah. Great start to the show.
Yeah, right. If there's anything I know about both of you, 19 air squats is not even like a warm-up for a warm-up.
We enjoyed it.
It's oh, good. And thank you for being patient. Obviously, we're working with technology and bringing us all together from around the world. So there is a slight delay. But obviously, you guys have a very unique foothold in the fitness and health landscape. And I saw recently a pivot with the Pursuing Health podcast and now website, which I would love to hear you explain it in your words and not mine of what the goal is of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, the Pursuing Health, the website was really just an updated way for us to bring together a lot of the different things that we were doing through the podcast, which I was lucky to start 5 years ago. It's been a year since we've been doing the podcast. And that was a way for me to continue to keep the conversation going with the CrossFit community after I retired from competition, and to be able to sort of help the community grow with me or see how I was growing through my medical studies over the past 5 years. It's shifted not only fitness content, but now more medical content. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap. And so the Pursuing Health website really kind of highlights the podcast, but also other projects that we've been working on to really work on bridging the gap between fitness and medicine, as you said.
Why don't we get into current events? Because this is obviously something that none of us, at least in this generation, have ever seen anything similar to it. We're from a fitness world, but like I said, you can speak a lot more clearly to it. Dani actually is my doctor. I'm happy to tell the world that. And I would love to hear, if you don't mind, sharing with us, in your mind, the big picture. What are we really facing here with COVID-19? What do people need to know?
Yeah, so I think the best way is to describe a little bit about the virus itself and what makes it so concerning. Really, it's something that spreads quickly, something that spreads easier than the flu. And then also, it can infect a lot of folks without people being sick. So it has a long incubation period. And with that, it leads to a pretty profound spread all across the world. And that has the end result of really affecting a lot of more vulnerable folks. So people who have chronic health conditions, more so than people who are younger. And, there's been some commentary that, most of us will have very minor symptoms, but a lot of more vulnerable folks will be infected. And that has the eventual negative outcome of overwhelming our healthcare system. And when that happens, the people that get in car accidents, that get heart attacks, that slip and fall, or, they're doing something cool out like mountain biking and they crash and burn. And, those people are going to have a harder time seeking medical services. So that's a big problem, one that has a direct effect on our day-to-day. But then there's also the economic consequences of it as well. And that's one of the big things that's being discussed now. And where do we draw the line in terms of how we deal with this thing, keeping in mind all the economic consequences?
I've lost, so got a little bit of a delay here on my end, but I want to know, actually, thank you for that explanation. Where are you guys right now?
We're in Cleveland, Ohio, which is where we live. We've lived here for about, actually, almost 10 years now. In our house.
I kind of knew. Okay.
Yeah, social
what I was looking for. Right. My closest access to like the medical field is Grey's Anatomy. So, I didn't know if you're in like, the break room at the hospital and you guys are just in between shifts. And, that's how robust my knowledge of the medical field is. You guys are at home. Thank you for making the time in that sense. So can you help me then make sense, Dani, after that explanation? I understand the dangers of spread, but can you help me understand projections and modeling? And when I think about the number of deaths that we're at now, and then I hear the news speak about astronomical numbers that I can't even wrap my head around, can you help me make sense of those and what I should and shouldn't be paying attention to when I watch the news?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are so many different sources of information and so many models out there that are predicting varying degrees of severity, really, or impact in terms of how many people are going to be infected, but also how many people are going to succumb to the disease. And right now we're in early days. honestly. I know it doesn't seem like that. We've over 1 million cases now all around the world, over, I think it was 60,000, creeping up on 60,000 deaths so far, but that still doesn't give us enough information to really predict and where we're headed or how this thing is going to shake out. But a lot of the models are telling us that it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. And I know that's really, really hard to believe, but there are things that we can do about it. So I don't want this to seem like a very grim message. There is hope for how we can manage this really overall. So what we're looking at this point is we're no longer looking at containment. I can't stress that enough. The cat's out of the bag. This thing is going to spread. But the thing that we can do and the thing that we're looking at is really slowing the spread as much as possible so that the systems that we have in place, our healthcare systems, our fire and safety systems, all those different economic and public services can manage the disease that's going to happen, the morbidity and potential mortality that's going to happen. So what we're probably looking at is a continued spread for quite a long time, on the order of potentially years, 1 to 2 years. But like I said, what we're looking for now is to really slow the spread so that we can manage the people that come into the hospital. Here in Cleveland, I can kind of only speak to what I've seen here in Cleveland. We're expecting to see our peak in mid-May. So we're at the beginning of April now. All the systems that we're involved in are gearing up for the worst still. And I imagine that in some parts of the world, it's still that way. I know that other places, even the United States, have been hit pretty hard already. But to kind of answer your question, unfortunately, it's probably going to get worse before it's going to get better. And we don't have a ton of information at this point on how bad it's going to get.
And the problem with a lot of the models is that we just don't have a lot of information. So this is a very new virus, and we don't have a lot of the information. And those models can swing really widely one way or another with just a small change in some of those inputs. And so that's why we're seeing so many different numbers and so many different estimates in the media. But I think it is safe to say, we don't really know how long when these peaks and surges are going to happen. We don't know how long they're going to last. We don't know how long this social distancing is going to be in place. But I think that at least for right now, we're seeing that it is having an impact. So I know at least here in Ohio, we're seeing, since we've started the social distancing, we are seeing our curve being flattened. And so that's encouraging because our systems are able to prepare, and we're really working hard to make sure that we are ready for when that surge happens.
Julie, you're a little younger in your career. You're 3 months away from finishing residency. So what a unique scenario you're in. I'd love to hear just your personal experience on watching the healthcare have to pivot and address this new reality.
Yeah, like you said, we've never lived through anything like this before. So I'm in family medicine residency, so I'm lucky that I've had a wide range of experiences and touch points in the healthcare system. So for example, for the past month, I've been working in the ER, and I mean, it's been, talk about people on the front lines. I mean, the ER doctors are right there, and it's been really amazing to see them preparing, going to, their meetings and their huddles every day, and seeing on a day-to-day, hour-by-hour basis how they're taking in information that we're getting and using it in a way so that they can prepare. From an outpatient perspective, so in family medicine, a lot of what we do is in the office. And I think in our healthcare system, and I think in most around the country and probably around the world, we're really shifting a lot of what we're doing to be telemedicine. So if anybody's making doctor appointments or has anything that happens over these, the past few weeks or over the coming months, most likely you're going to be seeing a doctor through a video chat or through a phone call rather than in the office. Which Dani has already been doing for years through SteadyMD. So it's really not anything new for him. But a lot of others of us are really ramping up our ability to do that. And then, our hospital system is changing. I mean, we are shutting down the day-to-day operations of a lot of different specialties and services and preparing for increased capacity. So we're building field hospitals. We're shifting our workforce. We have labor pools of residents and other physicians and other staff who are not necessarily needed in this time, who are going to be going into more of an inpatient hospital care setting, training for more acute care. So people are really, and it's been amazing to see people working together. I mean, I know, Matt just talked about how amazing it is to see so many different people in the fitness community come together that were previously competing. And I think in healthcare, we're also seeing that happen. We're seeing hospitals work together that were previously competing. We're seeing, all of our teams of healthcare workers, nurses, respiratory therapists, doctors, physical therapists, everyone is just ready to do what they can and work together and try to best take care of these patients and also keep ourselves safe on the front line.
It was interesting. We were texting briefly before you guys came on, and you mentioned something that I thought was really interesting, which is there's some tangential issues that you're dealing with, which are, one, people's concern about the infection, but then also like the resultant anxiety from some of what might be I don't want to call it hype, but the focus, the hyper focus on this situation because we are at home. You're dealing with you said some anxiety. I would love to hear you speak to that, and maybe even what you would say to folks at home who are maybe experiencing that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, just so as myself right now, I'm working in a regular primary care setting. And, this is one setting in one place in the world, but I can imagine there's some similarities in other places too, where I would say a large majority of patients that I'm seeing now are either because they have concerns about symptoms of possible coronavirus or because they have anxiety, whether that's they had anxiety before and now it's worse, or it's new and it's becoming debilitating for them. And so this is a real consequence of living right now with so much that's uncertain, with so much that's out of our control, with so much of our day-to-day lives being flipped upside down, with about our financial situations, about the economy, not being able to see our loved ones. So there's a lot of unknowns, and that is going to precipitate feelings of anxiety and worry and stress in all of us. And to some extent, that's normal for this situation. It can also become something that can become very debilitating and can become, more problematic for people. And so I would just encourage people to be really proactive about that. If you are more anxious or stressed, use your coping mechanisms that you have, like movement. Fitness is a great way to protect yourself and give yourself some resiliency against anxiety and stress. Making sure you get enough sleep, making sure you're eating well, taking care of yourself, doing things like, just if you haven't started a meditation practice or a deep breathing practice, now is the time when you're at home, connecting with your loved ones. But there's so many resources out there now too, whether it's online or virtual visits with therapists or counselors, calling your doctor. Don't hesitate to reach out. Don't wait until it's really bad. We always are advocates for being proactive about your mental health as much as you are about your physical health.
And I'm sure that there's resources posted on the Pursuing Health website, and you guys did mention SteadyMD, but I have to reiterate that, like, even the minor emergency place that I've been to here in Cookeville already texted me like, "Hey, we're moving to telecommuting," but you guys, Dani especially, has experience with that already, so it's a fantastic resource as well. And I would love to pivot back, Dani, to maybe some of the more pragmatic, the best practices of be doing simply preventing the spread as best we can.
Yeah, so this highlights a really important point, right? We've had a lot of people reach out, and tons of support for what Julie's doing in the hospital, what I'm doing via telemedicine, asking really, what can I do to help? It kind of feels a little bit, it doesn't feel great to be sitting at home and just waiting for this thing to pass, right? It doesn't feel like you're doing much. But I can't stress enough that you really are doing a ton. That is exactly what we need for people to do, is to really heed the advice, honestly, of a lot of our healthcare agencies like the CDC and whatever your organization is in your community. So staying at home is really, really critical. Only going out if you really need to. If you're perhaps one of those individuals who has a chronic condition that puts you at increased risk, which would be, underlying chronic health condition like diabetes, high blood pressure, things like that. Perhaps get a friend to help you, shop, have them go to the store for you and drop things off, and avoid, close contact. Do social distancing if you end up going out and enjoying a walk in the park or something like that. And now also, actually something that was relatively recent, here in the States, the CDC recommended, actually, if you do go out, specifically in communities where there's a lot of spread. So we're talking places like Seattle, Detroit, New York, that kind of thing. To wear some type of cloth over your mouth and your nose while you go out. Now, that was something that's contrary to what was initially said, but now that spread is so ubiquitous in those communities, that does add an additional layer of protection that we can implement. Now, it doesn't excuse us from social distancing or kind of sheltering in place, but it is another thing that we can do to increase our protection as we go into the community and do the things that we need to do.
This was not on my list.
I would just
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say on that note, doing that is helpful, but I think just being mindful too of the shortage of PPE that we have right now with our healthcare system and not knowing how long this is going to go on, because going out in public when we went out last weekend to go pick up some groceries, and I saw a lot of people wearing like N95 masks or surgical masks, which, who knows how long they've had them or where they got them from. But I would just say, if you have those at home, like if you can, and you're not, you haven't worn them, donate them to your local hospital or your local ER, because there's a huge shortage from those frontline healthcare workers, the ICU doctors, respiratory therapists who are right there, treating the patients who have severe disease and need those materials. So, doing the things you can at home by wearing, just cloth over your face and then distancing and practicing good hygiene measures is going to go a really long way. And I don't think will necessarily put you at increased risk as long as you're heeding that advice of having good hygiene measures.
Right. And the other thing too, is if we're doing this right, we'll feel like nothing is happening. That's the outcome that we want. We want it to be super boring and for us to come out of this thing and be like, wow, that was like a huge overreaction. That would be a success. That's what we want.
Yes. You guys don't have to belabor this point, but I would love for you to actually define. So literally when you say piece of cloth, you literally mean like a t-shirt or something like that. And then if you could differentiate like the type of masks that would be beneficial for people to donate versus, what's completely useless.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about piece of cloth, I'm thinking of like, if you had like a handkerchief or like a big bandana or something like that you would put over your mouth, or a big scarf.
Like
those are all things that you could use.
What are those things called that you wear when you go skiing?
Oh yeah, like
those things.
A windbreaker kind of thing for your face. Yeah, those are the kind of things that we're talking about that can confer a little bit of advantage. Now, with regards to different masks, there are the traditional masks that people wear for surgery. They're over your mouth. There's a paper mask. They have some elastic over your ears, and those are different from the N95 masks, which are being talked about a lot. And those are a little bit higher tech in that they provide a little bit better seal, but the material is also very different. So it's a very kind of high tech fabric. Actually, it's not just a regular piece of fabric. It has charge. It allows air to pass through, but really limits the movement of viruses and things of that nature. So there's a little bit more higher tech masks, and they're much more complex to produce, which is why they're in a huge shortage at this point. And, the estimates right now are that we need tens of millions of these, and the best companies can only crank out so many. Like there is no scenario, if things stay the way they are right now, there's no scenario where we will have enough PPE. So all we can do right now is be creative on how to conserve and recycle it.
And thank you to companies like Rogue Fitness, who is shifting their manufacturing to try to help out with that solution. So it's cool to see people doing what they can.
Yeah, they have absolutely blown my mind with what they're doing. I want to now, Dani, you mentioned there, but we passed right over it. Was you said high blood pressure? You said a couple of other things, but I'm interested to know, who really should have concerns? Because at the top of the conversation, we said a lot of folks are just writing this off as if, wow, it's not a concern for me. I'm a CrossFitter, but we have now seen folks from within the CrossFit community who have passed away from COVID-19. And I would love to know, like, where does that definition kind of stop and start? I'm sure that there's gray lines, but what is an underlying condition that people should be really concerned about?
Right. So let's address 2 points here, because I think it's important to note. One is, if we're CrossFitters, we're definitely not immune to the chronic conditions that we see in other individuals. I take care of lots of people in our community, and they are just as at risk for some conditions. Now, lower risk, that's for sure. So like things like the lifestyle diseases, we have a nice hedge against that. But it doesn't mean that we can't succumb to type 1 diabetes or high blood pressure or something like that, that's going to put us at increased risk for infection. And those, so to kind of address the initial question and what are the things that put us at higher risk, are really chronic conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes. There's some question that maybe immunocompromised individuals are at higher risk too. That's kind of up for debate. We're still learning quite a bit about that. But also another factor that's quite profound here in the United States is really obesity. And we're finding that a lot of people in the United States that do have obesity are suffering a lot worse outcomes than their peers who are not obese. And this may explain actually some of the differences we've seen in the United States versus China or other countries, why we're seeing younger people in the United States succumb to more severe infections. It's possibly, I suspect, due to obesity because it is so prevalent in our society. So those are kind of the major risk factors. And then, of course, the proverbial risk factor for all respiratory diseases is smoking, right? So obviously, there's probably very few individuals in our community who smoke, but keep in mind that isn't just tobacco, but other forms of combustible substances that we put into our lungs, vaping, all these different things can profoundly damage our lungs and put us at increased risk. And then I have to stress this because we always talk about this, is because, and lifestyle factors, right? If you are stressed out of your mind, you're not sleeping, your nervous system is just super activated, that's going to generate some degree of immunosuppression. We know that as a fact. Now, how much that plays into getting ill with the coronavirus, we don't know, but know that that's another thing that can affect your overall health. So we have to do everything that we can to maximize our health through the lifestyle factors that we always preach, in CrossFit, making sure you're sleeping well, exercising, doing high intensity activity with some downtime, all those different things that we talk about every single day in our affiliates.
Absolutely. I have many more things on my list, and of course, I could sit here and speak to you guys for days. But I want to get all the pragmatic stuff out of the way that we had kind of discussed via text, me and Julie. Yeah. And so I do want people to get from you guys specifically, what if they are feeling symptoms that they believe would be, in line with coronavirus? What should they do?
I can take this one too. Yeah. So, the other issue is testing is still not as widespread as we would like it to be here. So if you are otherwise healthy, you don't have one of these chronic conditions, most likely you're not going to be able to get testing, although I would check with your local, physician or your local health authorities about who's qualifying for testing in your area. But so long as your symptoms are mild, you're not having severe shortness of breath, you're not having dizziness, you can still eat and drink fine. Basically what you need to do is isolate yourself. So staying at home, practicing all the hygiene measures. If you have a mask, wearing a mask if there are other family members in your house, and even isolating yourself in the house from those family members to protect them. And then just monitoring yourself, monitoring your temperature. If you develop shortness of breath or your symptoms are getting worse, that would be when you want to be in close contact with your doctor, and they can guide you about what next steps you need to take. But just be mindful. I know it's frustrating for patients who are having symptoms and are not able to get testing. It's frustrating for all of us because we would love for testing to be much more widespread, but unfortunately right now it's not. And so it's really being used for the people with severe symptoms to help sort of triage and determine the appropriate area and treatment for them. But you can defer to your local, physician or your local state or health department for that.
And I do want to say that, I think we can speak for our community as GPs that we do not mind being reached out to, contacted by our patients. Like I've had so many people come to me and say, oh, I didn't want to bother you. I imagine that you're so busy, but I have this going on. We're still working. Like, make sure that you reach out to us. Like, you are just as important as anyone else, even if you don't have COVID-19. So I just can't stress that enough. We love everyone. We'll take care of everyone.
I believe that to be true, knowing both of you as individuals. We're rounding them up. We've got about 5 minutes left, and I would love to hear two more topics addressed. And one is on the testing related subject. True or false that there is a test coming out that even if I was asymptomatic, I can find whether or not that I had the virus? And the second part of that question is, can you give me your insights on what we know about whether or not you do develop antibodies that will give you some form of some form of defense against the virus from being reinfected?
Yeah, this is a great question. With regards to a test, I'm not sure. I haven't heard that. With regards to your second question, in terms of immunity after an infection, it's still early days. There was just one study published, I think it was in monkeys, where they tested, gave them the virus, allowed them to recover, and then re-exposed them, I think it was a month later, and they were immune to the virus. Now, again, this is monkeys, this is not people, this is 1 month. At least what we can tell from that study is that people are immune to some degree. And we see that actually in the field too. So for at least the initial couple months, people seem to be immune. Now, we don't know how long that immunity lasts. We'll have to see.
I know you're both also very fun individuals, and this has been pretty stern. This has been pretty straightforward. So I would love to end by hearing just what you guys are doing to kind of stay fit, and then also like I've loved the innovation that we've seen over the. One of the positive byproducts that has come from all of us being forced out of the gym has been, man, these Zoom meetings and people just coming up with creative ways to either express themselves or to help others. So I would love to kind of close out hearing y'all's thoughts on what you've gleaned from that.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it sounds cheesy, but it's been really fun for us to work out together a lot more. we just lately, the last several years, we haven't really been working out much because our schedules have been so different, or we're working out much together. Our schedules have been so different. Mm-hmm. We've been going to our affiliate, but usually we go at different times. And the last few weeks, it's been just the two of us in our little tiny home gym, which is not much. We don't have a garage. We don't have barbells. It's just some dumbbells and an assault bike.
Yeah.
And
we make it work.
We've been trying to do that every morning. And then we do a little meditation afterwards to kind of balance things out, get our heads right. And it's been a great way to start the day. And it's been really fun because otherwise I don't think we were spending that much quality time together working out. And it's been cool to see our affiliate, the ways that, just personally, I think all the affiliates are adapting, but to see our affiliate, we go to Black Flag Athletics in Avon, Ohio, and to see the ways that they've adapted, and they're doing Zoom classes now and lending out equipment and seeing people still, I've seen people go do social distancing workouts in the park where they all go and they stay 6 feet apart, but they're still doing the same workout together. So it's cool to see that sort of thing happening.
Yeah. And honestly, I can speak for us too, that I actually we feel more connected to a lot of our loved ones now than we did before, even though we are quarantined at this point, because I think a lot of the noise has been removed from our day to day. And now we're making time to connect with our loved ones every single day or a couple times a week. And I think it's really brought us closer together. And that's why Julie and I are super excited about this United Movement campaign.
We're excited to have you guys as a part of it. And aside from your outlets, I'd love you to tell people your Instagram handles and the website again, but also what are your trusted sources? What are you checking on a daily basis or telling your friends and family like, hey, don't geek out on the news too much, but do go here, here, and here?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as knowing symptoms, knowing what to do, like if you get sick and symptoms and things like that, we tend to use the CDC here in the United States, and the WHO, I think, is a good source for things like that. Mm-hmm. For looking at the big picture of numbers of cases and spread, I think I like the Johns Hopkins database. I think we both like that one. Now, knowing that's only if you really like to look at the numbers, but again, those numbers are not necessarily important to even look at or think about because we don't have widespread testing, so it's not telling us the whole picture. And really the important numbers are how busy are our hospitals, how busy are our ICUs, how many severe cases do we have, because that's where the problem really comes, is those severe cases and how many, how much is our healthcare system being overburdened. So we're getting that information daily kind of from our hospital system, and then from our state. We have a great, shout out to Ohio, because I think it's great. We have every day at 2 p.m. the governor and our director of our health department comes on and they give an update, and it's been really cool because I don't think I've otherwise felt so connected to other people in my state.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And man, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on, sharing your brains, sharing your knowledge. You're wonderful people, amazing friends. And Dani, you'll be hearing from me a lot. Julie, I'll be
It's all good, man. Bring it on.
Yep. And you guys stay safe. Thank you. And hopefully people come and check you out and get all that good information from you at home.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having us. And we're super excited about this to get more people moving and to give back to some important causes.
Thanks again.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Listen, we've been talking pretty straight dope here, right? We've been talking about the purpose of this, what we're doing here with United in Movement. If you're just joining us, here's what you need to know. You can join a competition that kicks off tomorrow. It will go for 7 days, 7 workouts in 7 days. The workouts will be announced by your favorite athletes on Instagram. Today, we're going around the horn, man. We're going to go to Hong Kong. In just a few moments, you're going to see Rich Froning Jr. work out. You're going to hear Dan Bailey sing to you. He's going to unleash his pipes. If you didn't see that on Instagram already, then it's something that you do need to see. Coming up right now, though, it is something that we're all doing, after talking to the Dr. Urcuyo, Dr. Foucher, we're sheltering in place. We're trying to flatten the curve, and this leaves affiliates eerily empty. So even the biggest gyms are not immune to this impact. I can speak as a resident of Cookeville, Tennessee, that extends even here to CrossFit Mayhem. We told you that you'll be able to come along with us during this show. That's true. You will work out with us sometimes. But what you're about to see now is a showcase by the first superstar of CrossFit, Rich Froning, and his teammate, Tasia Percevecz. This was filmed earlier at an empty CrossFit Mayhem. We hope you enjoy this, as we don't get to see much sanctional action right now. We still get to see some of the fittest take on workouts.
No one has been untouched by this pandemic. Small businesses like CrossFit affiliates have especially been hit hard and have a long road to recovery, even after we flatten the curve. As part of this community for over a decade, it breaks my heart to see the individuals and businesses that help it thrive struggling so badly. That's why I'm taking part in United in Movement, to take action, to show my support, to try to give back, so we can keep changing this world and making it a healthier place. Thank you guys for joining us. And with that, you guys have seen a lot of movement over the last couple weeks, and a lot of body weight stuff. We know a lot of you guys can't get to the gym right now. We know that these movements we're about to do, you guys can't really do probably in most of the places you're at, but we thought we'd give you guys a little bit of a break. The United in Movement people thought it might be kind of cool to have you guys give you a break from, like I said, the body weight stuff, and let you see some of us go at a little bit more complex movements and some heavier weight. So we're here in a completely empty, sad and lonely CrossFit Mayhem, and I'm completely lonely because I'm just here with Tasia.
Wow.
So, for your viewing pleasure for the next, 40, 45 minutes, whatever. In theory, this sounds like a good idea. We'll see what kind of a crap show it turns into real quickly. But we're gonna try to go every 5 minutes. 12 bar muscle ups, 6 squat snatch at 185, 125 pounds, not kilos. I know there's some people abroad watching. And 90-foot handstand walk, foot, not meters. We're not really sure the number of sets. Maybe 5, maybe 4, maybe 3. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Dre doesn't think it can be done in 5 minutes, so we'll see.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
I just want to see Tasia break right here. Just kidding. I'm here to support you.
Are you?
Yeah, I support
We're
you.
here to support each other.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
We're
seriously.
united.
What kind of message are you sending?
United in movement. Music? We let him.
You right. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna see how this first round goes, and that's how we're gonna test what set or when we'll start the second set. round 5.
I think I can. I might have to break.
I didn't know you switched to 185.
Is that what it was?
That's easy.
What you got, Dre?
So, when did you guys close the gym down? How'd that go down?
This whole week has been closed. It's been 2 weeks?
Yeah.
This is the second week of closure. We're doing Zoom classes at 8:15 and 4. We cut our members back to $50 a month and do the virtual classes. We allowed paying members to take home a dumbbell and a plate. So we've been programming all the workouts based on people having that equipment. So workouts have been good, they've been tough. It's just pretty cool to see everybody trying to find a way, make it happen.
Yeah.
It's tough, it's frustrating. The governor issued a stay-at-home warning here starting tonight. And so there's a curfew in effect. So unless you're an essential business, so. I feel like fitness is essential though, but it's not on the list, so. Media is though.
Yeah, media.
You're essential, Dre.
That's what we're doing here, media.
It's the first time he's ever heard that.
I hear it every day. You know Hillary, right? You could look up some of those questions from Instagram, student.
Yeah.
Here we.
This one time felt okay. Cancel and suffering. Sorry, then my tricep.
I just breathe it. Sprints. I'm not scared.
behind my hair, wearing my grandpa's hats with a nice pair of cowboy boots. I ain't no hipster, I ain't no redneck, by any means.
How's that?
It's hard.
Harder than the first round?
Yeah.
A lot harder.
Not a lot harder, but harder.
How the bar mess ups feel?
That one felt okay. The squat snatch, for some reason, are my favorite part, but like, I feel like my body's getting blown up in them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably from the combination.
You think you'll have to break on your bar mess up?
Heavy stuff.
That's true, we haven't been moving a heavy bar.
We've been in solidarity with our brothers and sisters.
I've done a bunch of air squats.
Yeah.
How's your training changed?
A lot higher heart rate on most stuff. A lot of high volume, body weight, high volume, dumbbell. Like I said, we're trying to, like I said, we do classes with the members in the morning, and then 3 days a week we've been trying to do the quarantine workouts. And so those are a bulk of our training.
They've been brutal.
They've been awful, which has been good, I guess.
Yeah.
It's good to change it up. Get so caught up in thinking heavier is better all the time, and more complex is better, but really it's not. So it's kind of good to get back to, if there is a bright spot in any of this, it's like, hey, going back to kind of basics on what we used to do, and a lot of single arm stuff, single leg stuff, so
that's good.
It's good to mix up and fix some imbalances, Think about this as a time that you can get better at stuff, Don't think of it as I'm losing my fitness, think of it as I'm getting healthier.
What do you think you've got fitter, Tasia?
Air squats, lunges, alternate leg V-ups.
All the body weight stuff.
Step ups. Yeah, core.
Workouts.
Yeah, the snatches. It's like my favorite part, but also my least favorite part. I know I can do everything else. On the barbell stuff?
Yeah,
But that's because I don't have to slow down.
You're like 9 and 10, you slow down a little bit.
I try to press out like as long as I can.
This is 3.
all right, Tasia?
I am. You forget that handstand walk's like a little bit grippy?
Because you're holding tight and then you're opening up.
Yeah, it's like bar muscle up, grip, grip. And the handstand walk's like a little bit grippy. Feel good.
10 of these? At least.
Yo. All right, we're going to interrupt you just for one moment because it's hour number 2. It's the 19th minute. We're going to do 19 burpees. I'm going to bring in Chase Ingram and Bill Grunler to do these against me so I'm not so lonely here in my living room. You boys hear me? Oh,
hey,
there you is.
Hey.
Game time, gentlemen. Let's do this. Nobody interrupt the Froning, all right? I say 3, 2, 1, go. Did I win? There must be a delay. Man. All right.
Winner.
Chase is a new dad.
I totally lost count.
Let him get on.
I totally lost count, so I just did a couple extra.
I'll just tell you this. There's
Totally.
Burpees.
Not about to do 17 burpees online.
Thank you for not making me do that alone. We'll be back with you guys in a second. We got to finish the Froning piece.
Got you, brother.
Dre, you're after us. After we go, keep the camera rolling. You're up.
No, I'll pass.
We're united.
We're united as one.
I can feel myself connected to both of you right now.
You can use my bar.
That's too heavy.
We did the one from this morning.
Oh, did you do the one from this morning?
Huh?
The one from this morning?
Yeah.
That was hard, right? Full hand.
All right.
This whole piece of skin. Go for it.
It's up to you.
What'd you do?
I got a rip, probably from not doing this, you know, the skin pulls up. Might
Well, if you felt a tear under there, don't.
I mean, you know. You do you. Where'd you rip at?
right here. It's a bubble.
Huh?
8 burpee pull-ups. Show people how you can scale it if they have to.
Yeah.
If they do have some equipment, they can do a version, do 8 burpee pull-ups.
This will be the one time in the history that Rich will ever tell you to scale.
I know. He's like, oh, it's fine. It's just a little
Appropriate
bit
time.
There's 0 point in ripping your hand right now.
It's already there.
Okay. Actually, have to do 9 burpee pull-ups.
Okay.
Keep it right. Because if you go 8, it throws off the numbers still. It's 8, 6, 9. This is at least 9, 6, 9.
Burpee pull-ups just take so much longer.
They're
So much longer.
So much worse.
Oh yeah.
Well,
So much more breathing.
last round.
What would Dre do?
There's only one round left. It's not worth it, but it's not worth it, you know.
You do the flap over?
No. Not on bar muscle.
Me either. I thought maybe you were doing that, and that's why, because it'll move over.
Yeah. I think my hands are just baby hands because we haven't done a bar in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
30 muscle-ups for time last week.
That was 2 weeks ago, was it?
That was last week.
Oh.
It was Monday.
I'd prefer to do bar muscle-ups, but I'm not going to.
Just people to be smart.
Yeah, you should be smart. If you're gonna rip your hand. Yeah. You say do 6?
Yeah.
Brothers outside with his friends playing basketball. My sister's upstairs in her room with all her dogs. Ain't it fun?
How?
Every
muscle up. So I was trying to count what rep you were on. See where it would be equal.
Now my sister's married, living in California. But this counting money, flying tax report.
I'm fitting for right now.
Ain't it funny? How everything changes.
Huh?
Said, ain't it funny how everything changes?
Yeah.
I started getting one there. It's not bad.
It's not like, it's just a layer.
Let me zoom in on it. Stay right there. Ooh.
So you think I should have
Stay
done
right
them?
there. Yeah. Yuck. That's bad. I still would have done.
You still would have done it?
I still would have done it.
Oh. That was legit.
Done for the day?
I think so. Are you done for the day?
I don't know. I was gonna ask you guys some questions.
Cool.
And sit and talk 6 feet apart from all.
Yeah, right, sorry. 6 feet apart from my imaginary friend.
What was that? I honestly didn't even understand what you just said. I said 6 feet apart.
Basically.
I think the big thing with all this is you can still, I know it's not as much fun. It's not as, I don't know, there's something about that CrossFit community, the feel of working out with people, working out with your friends. I mean, we've been able to, in those Zoom classes, like start a Zoom group
Yeah.
where you guys all do the same thing. A lot of gyms are doing virtual classes. We've talked about branching out and allowing, or maybe starting like a virtual mayhem class. But it's like, try to get together, try to, not in person physically, but through Zoom, through FaceTime, whatever it is, just get together and move. And I think that's what this whole thing's about, is we're all in this together. We're all in this to move, like I said earlier, the CrossFit community, CrossFit affiliates have been the center of that, and we want to support those to where when this is all over, we can go back to somewhat of a normal life. I mean, we're never going to be at the same, we're coming back to a different world than we left, but keep moving. We've, like I said, we've been testing all these workouts, and we've done, if you have limited equipment, if you have a dumbbell, if you have a backpack that you can throw weight in, we've done some nasty workouts. You don't have an excuse not to move. Like, just because you physically can't go to the gym doesn't mean you can't do some type of fitness. So follow people you like on Instagram. People are posting all over. I turn on my Instagram and I don't follow anybody, but on my Discover, I see hundreds daily of different body weight workouts, different circuits, whatever it is. But we're in this together, guys. We're gonna continue to give you as much as we can, as long as we can. Like I said, we're starting to shut down stuff around here too. So we're gonna continue as long as we can to give you guys something. But just like I said, we're in this together. United in movement is, it's a good catchphrase, good slogan for it all. So.
Community's bigger than personal, like in physical contact,
we don't have
right?
to be,
reach out, get connected, talk to people.
like I said, Zoom's a cool thing. FaceTime's a great. You can do multiple person FaceTimes now, and just stay together, guys. Dude, we'll get through it. Maybe a while, but like I said, we're united in movement. So thanks, guys.
Wise words from the man himself, Mr. Rich Froning. And what a treat, man, to get to see some of the top athletes in the world. He and Tasia, we thank them greatly. And Dre, of course, for putting that together and getting it to us on a quick turnaround. There will be more mayhem in the future, about 3 a.m. local time here. But for some of you in Australia and other parts of the world, you'll get actually in an M30 class, a 30-minute body weight only, that's out of Mayhem. So that'll be a fun follow-along workout. This one, again, was just for you guys to see some of the best throw down, because we haven't seen a lot of that lately in the last couple of weeks. Now, I did promise, though, that it would be not all work and no play. So up next, we have a very, very, very special treat. One of the most prolific athletes in the sport of fitness and a sweetheart of the community. Yes, Dan Bailey's joining me, but it's not just to talk about fitness or do fitness. Dan Bailey, y'all, is going to serenade us. And if you're not already a follower of Dan Bailey, he recently threw up some tunes on Instagram. There he is. Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Man, you look good with that guitar strapped around you. I've seen you sing before, but recently you unveiled to the world like, hey, I've got this secret superpower. Tell me about you and music. Like, for people that didn't even know that existed, how long you been playing?
I've actually probably been playing since I was, I don't know, 9 or 10, I bet. But you know, once sports picked up as I started getting a little bit older, like I put the guitar down and didn't play it much anymore. Like I took lessons back then and learned a lot of the basics, and then stopped all that once sports picked up. And then I kind of got back into it a little bit in college. I played a couple small shows with my brother at some bars and those kind of things. I played at one of my buddy's weddings once, but nothing too crazy, nothing really serious. And then it just kind of came back around with some of the sponsors that I've been involved with. Some of the people that I know kind of found out that I could play a little. I played for them just privately, and then they'd make me play in front of crowds, and then it kind of steamrolled from there a little bit. And every now and then the old axe gets pulled out and I play.
Oh, man. And lucky for all of us that we get to see it. But that's not, look, you get to choose when it was on Instagram, but then they reached out and they're like, hey, Dan, we want you to play on this massive live stream. We want everybody to see it. Are you nervy about this? Is this out of your comfort zone? Talk to me.
Very much. And, I've handled a lot of technical difficulties in my day of helping broadcast with the CrossFit Games and those kind of things. Literally right before you guys brought me on, these speakers went out. I can't hear anything other than what's coming out of my computer. So I've been practicing for the past hour and a half, hearing everything in my headphones. And now I can't do that. So that's okay, though. We're just going to go ahead and fly by the seat of our pants and react and make things good. So but no, yeah, super nervous. This is way out of my comfort zone, especially live. I'd rather do things recorded and then send it to you, but this is how we're doing it. We're united in movement, and we're going to make this happen.
Hey, dude, and lucky for us that over the past few years, you've been practicing to become a broadcast professional, and you now know that no matter what, something always goes wrong, and there's always a fire to put out. And now here you are playing with two hands tied behind your back and blindfolded. And so we love it. We appreciate it. Before we do music, though, we got some business to do.
Yeah.
One thing that I want the world to know is we have already surpassed $44,336. That is no small feat in the first, what are we in? There's like hour number 3 of this 24 hours. And of course, we got 7 days of workouts to come. What people don't know, and they didn't even know this when they donated, so it's even cooler, is that we're giving away a couple prizes, a couple Easter eggs from time to time. The first one is a Rogue barbell. And that is going to be given out right now. And I understand that you know the name of the person who is going to get this Rogue barbell, and I want you to spill it.
Okay, I do know that name. It is Courtney Bryant from CrossFit Carnivore down there in Georgia, and she was chosen because she registered for United in Movement. So congratulations, Courtney. You will not be disappointed. That's so cool.
Congratulations to Courtney. And so you guys know there are like I said, there are some other little Easter eggs coming throughout the course of the 24 hours. Lots of brands on board helping to support this movement and giving you guys just some free stuff for working out at home, but also just really for being a part of this. Dan, let's get back to you. I want to understand, kind of, I'm assuming that music is part of it, but we're all in this really weird world right now, man. Like, what are you doing to keep yourself sane?
Yeah. Obviously everybody's day to day has changed a lot. For some people, there's a little more dead time. For some people, they're just working at home or downtime. They're just working at home now. So, things have just radically changed and you have to adapt. And since music has always been a part of my life, I've kind of looked at it as like a personal journal or something like that, something that I can just do to tune out the rest of the world and kind of relax, de-stress, and, either get ready for bed or just something to clear my head a little bit where I don't think about anything else other than what I'm doing. So I've definitely been playing a lot more over the past month because of that, because of all the changes that have come around. And, you can only watch so much Netflix, and I can only make so many trips out to the barn and work out and do those kind of things until I got to come in here and do something else. So, picking up books and playing a little guitar.
Fantastic. Let's give some shout outs real quick. Talking Elite Fitness is already chirping you. They say that your voice is like a combination of Fergie and Jesus. I'm sure you got strong words for that. Fikowski's on here. Look, I'm not even. You got to read Fikowski's on here. No, that's fantastic. Kelly Goodale says she's got hard eyes for Dan Bailey singing. Whoop whoop. And so thank all you guys who are tuning in. My mom's on the stream, Dan. You were about to serenade my mother, Barbara Sack, is on here. She says nothing about you. She just says that she misses me. And and we'll have you answer one. I want you to answer. Ryan Vaughn's asking, what about the Buttery Bros Danny Broflex? Can you give us a sneak? Like, when's it coming out?
Yeah, I got to jump on a call with those guys. Yeah. Obviously, the world changed rapidly. Weeks and a month or so ago. So we had some plans, and then some things kind of changed, and that's coming real soon. So I'm excited for you guys to see that stuff. It is by far some of our funniest and best material, and I don't like setting things up for failure, but we got some really good special guests, and we just got some really cool content and just had an absolute blast with it. The outtakes and the time that we had making it, it was a blast. It was awesome. So I'm so glad we got to do it again. Hopefully we'll get to keep it going. We'll see what you guys think of it, and it should be a good time. And now is probably the best time to release it. So be looking for that really, really soon.
Yeah. Laughter is the best medicine. Absolutely. Second only to, sorry, that's my authentic hound dog. I'm not sure if you can hear him, but he's going to sing along with you apparently.
Help me sing.
I want to know what we're going to hear and why you picked this song. And then hopefully we'll get to maybe one or two more. So you tell me yes or no, or are we taking requests? And tell me about this song and why.
We could potentially I'll see what the requests are and see how I do with it. But this first song is called Soul Shine, and it's originally by the Allman Brothers. And it was back in I want to say the 90s, I think they released it. But another band called Government Mule plays it, and my brother showed it to me. And so I really liked it, really liked the lyrics. I changed a little bit of them to kind of, I don't know, fit what I think how the song should go and some of the stuff. But it's a great song, and it's about, about how things don't necessarily always go your way. And you're not going to have a perfect life, and things aren't always going to be perfect, but you got to let your soul shine. So you still got to have some kind of positivity in there. And whether it's raining outside, whether it's dark, whether you're in a cloudy position or something like that, your soul can still shine. You can still put a smile on your face and make the best of the situation.
Beautiful, my friend. We can't wait to hear it. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
When you can't find the light, guide you through a cloudy day. When the stars ain't shining bright, it feels like you've lost your way. When the candle lights of home, they burn so very far away. Well, you gotta let your soul shine, just like my daddy used to say, soul shine. It's better than sunshine, it's better than moonshine. You're damn sure it's better than rain. Yeah, now people don't mind, we all feel this way sometimes. But you gotta let your soul shine, shine till the break of day. I grew up thinking that I had it made, gonna make it on my own. Life can take the strongest man and make him feel so alone. Now and then I feel a cold wind blowing through my aching bones. I think back to what my daddy says. Boy, it ain't the darkest just before the dawn. Let your soul shine. It's better than sunshine. It's better than moonshine.